Hello there everybody, Sabah92 aka Nightmare, and welcome back to Dies Irae Amantes Amentes. Nazi Nun. That's pretty much all I gotta say about that. Lisa is a member of the Obsidian Round Table. Great! Also, I got a little bit of a, interesting little tidbit, which kind of makes me grateful that I'm not on the, 18-plus version of this. Supposedly that scene of her, I guess, offering herself to some weird beast of some sort? Apparently, that scene goes a bit longer. So, you know what? I'm glad that's cut out. Because I don't want to, but I can only imagine what kind of events would take place in something like that. So, yeah, I am actually happy that I'm not doing the 18-plus version. I don't think I'm going to do the 18-plus version of anything at this point. Anyway, she's now attacking, and I was given a little bit of a warning. Thank you very much, Setsuna, for giving me a bit of a warning in terms of censoring something. So I got this is a good heads up. It's not a spoiler or anything like that. It's not. I was just told that I need to be ready for not maybe a couple more moments, but something one event relatively close to this. So thank you very much for the warning. I am significantly more prepared, and I've got my sensors ready. She gracefully walked through the dazzling lights and flood of violent sound, paying no heed to the crowd of 100+ there. She was neither avoiding contact with the people around her, nor was she being avoided by them. Yet no one in that jam-packed hall touched even her shoulder. The girl, Kei Sakurai, narrowed her eyes. She thought about the tragedy that was about to unfold here, but perhaps realizing it was pointless, concentrated on the stage with a cold glint in her eyes. On the other intruder, who'd invaded the premises without a sound or trace, much like herself. On the dark holy woman who languidly pulled her long hair up under the lights. Lisa Brenner, tonight's lead actress.
さあ、あなたはどうするの、藤井君。
The bottomless pit's hall was already filled with a great variety of spectators, from somewhat elderly men to girls who still had traces of innocence left in them. They all looked up at the stage in a bit of a daze. Standing there was a lone woman I knew. She wasn't wearing her trademark glasses, but I had no doubt in my mind that it was her. Sister Lisa Brenner.
面白いな。まるでお通夜じゃねえかよ。
美人の凄みってやつかね。
None of the 100+ spectators dared say a word. An abnormal silence reigned in league with the loud club music. Shiro, Honjo, and I stared blankly as the other guys got in our way, preventing us from reaching the stage. Marie had returned to my body in preparation for battle, but I hadn't seen this coming. Since I couldn't predict what was to come next, I didn't know what to do. Perhaps she had been waiting for us. If so, did that mean a fight would break out as soon as we arrived? I hadn't gone off on the deep end enough to suddenly start a battle to the death with someone I knew, but in that case, how was I to put an end to this situation?
こんばんは、藤井君。
Hi there. Didn't realize you were a Nazi. But in that moment of anguish, she looked right at me with piercing eyes, and we locked gazes. She spoke in the exact same mild tone she did the last time we met. Nausea came over me as the realization that this was not a dream finally began to sink in. She was the same Lisa Brenner I knew before all this madness began. We were separated by a roughly 20-meter-long distance, yet she spoke calmly across the sea of petrified spectators.
悪いことは言わないから、すぐにこの場を離れなさいな。
Well, that depends. Are you going to kill a bunch of people? Oh, that's possible. Then I'm afraid I can't leave.
正直私はあなたと争いたくないの。だ
ったら。
I instinctively started shouting.
あんたがここから去ってくれ。俺だってあんたと戦いたくなんかない。きっと氷室先輩だって。
ええ、あの子はそうでしょうね。
Her words carried a hint of self-deprecation. Though her eyes were filled with sorrow, she followed up with some rather callous words.
でも私がここから引いてしまえば 代わりにベイかマレウスがやってくるだけ。
Well,
事態は何も変わらない。
shit.
シスター、俺は
I didn't want to hear those bastards' names from her mouth.
どうして。俺にはあんたや先輩があの気が狂った連中と同じようには思えない。どうしてあいつらと行動を共にする。
あなたと知り合うずっと前から私は彼らの仲間だからよ。私とあなたが出会っていても出会わなくても今日という日は起きていた。何かが変わったわけじゃない。私は最初からこんな女。
Well, shit. Tried playing to her emotions, that didn't work.
だからね、これが最後の忠告。
Sister Lisa's eyes narrowed. She stared at me with arrogance and haughtiness. Her gaze replete with the pressure of an empress.
去りなさい、藤井君。あなたが死んだらレアが悲しむ。
Flashes of that day flew by for a moment. Memories of that irreparably shattered day-to-day life. She understood nothing.
ふざけるなよ。
Couldn't she tell that the mere act of hearing something like that from her lips would make Himuro sadder even than the issue of my life or death? We could argue over stupid shit like dying, killing, fighting, or whatnot, but it wouldn't get us anywhere. I decided to stop thinking.
シスター、ここから消えるのはあんただよ。口で言っても通じないなら力ずくで叩き出してやる。
そう。じゃあ私もその考えにならんわね。
Oh dear. Sister Lisa nodded to me, conspicuously avoiding my gaze.
聞けないのはこちらも同じ。私にも理由があるし、叶えなければならない願いがある。
Was the wish for a complete outfit because your leg's kind of exposed?
その邪魔をするなら排除するわ。清掃13騎士団黒煙卓第11位、バビロン・マグダレナ・リザ・ブレンナ。今の私たちが有する最高戦力と戦って勝てると思わない方がいい。
Try the combination there. Babylon Magdalene, as in, like, Mother Magdalene? Or is that just a coincidence? At that exact moment, a hole opened diagonally above Sister Lisa. No, that wasn't quite right. Whoa! It was a mask, or something like that. A jet black object that didn't give off even the smallest ember of light was floating in the air. It sent shivers down my spine.
おいおい。
こりゃちょっと。
Shiro and Honjo, who had been quietly watching my conversation with Sister Lisa up to that point, broke out into uncharacteristically stiff smiles. They probably felt it too. The aberrant, wicked intentions oozing out from deep within that hellish black mask.
イエツラ、
Oh fuck. That was her Ananerbe.
パリデモース。
Palida Morse? The Mask of Pale Death. A second later, the darkness exploded. A human figure grew out of the mask. Admittedly an odd expression, but that was the only way I could describe the phenomena unfolding before my eyes. Arms, legs, a waist, and a torso materialized in but a few seconds, like they'd protruded out of the mask. Sister Lisa was no longer alone. Whoa! Holy! Oh my god, I just saw the fucking weapon that he's holding. Holy shit! Dude! Girl, you've got a wicked Ananerbe. Didn't realize that Ananerbe could physically manifest into different forms. Like, instead of weapons, they're fucking physical people! Standing next to her was a peculiar giant easily over 2 meters tall. Its body covered in bundles of thick muscles like the statue of a fierce god. A tattoo with a complex design was carved into the left side of its body, serving only to accentuate its bizarre appearance even further. What the hell? Was that thing human? It didn't look that way at all. Despite its huge frame, the giant didn't feel real in the slightest. It stood right before me, but its whole appearance seemed so unrealistic it rather felt like a bad joke. Nonetheless, the bloodlust it emanated was so fierce it hit me like a ton of bricks, sending an ominously negative wave across the hall. The spectators, whose time had stopped by the appearance of Sister Lisa, woke up all at once. They all looked at the monster with eyes of dread. That fear amplified, spread, saturated, and started welling up within them. Those driven by fear tried to get out right away. Calm the fuck down! Clogging up the narrow exit, some of them violently pushed others out of the way, desperate to save themselves first. Just then, Shiro fired a gun at the ceiling and let out an angry roar exceeding all other sounds. That was enough to quell the 100 or so panicking spectators into silence. That wasn't all. They stopped running, parted to the side, and opened a path to the stage. Paying no heed to my dumbfoundedment at his Moses-esque feats, Shiro calmly walked down the hallway. Honjo trailed behind him, wearing the casual expression of someone taking an everyday stroll down the street. Sister Lisa's voice carried a hint of admiration.
私たちの時代に生まれていたら、あなたは英雄になれたかもしれない。じゃああんたはさしずめマッドサイエンティストだったってところかな?
Possibly. Mad scientist slash nun slash Nazi? That's one hell of a thing to put on your resume. Honjo listlessly snickered while gesturing to the mysterious giant, who had yet to budge even an inch.
家業からわかるんだよ、私には。マッコウ臭いっていうか、ホルマリン臭いっていうか。とにかく随分と破壊だよね、シスターも。
なんつうか、墓場くせ。
そうだね。刺繍プンプンだよ、そのでかいの。ビクター・フランケンシュタイン博士。あれって英国文学のはずだけど、いいわけ？ドイツ人がパクっちゃってさ。
Victoria Frankenstein, maybe? Sister Lisa laughed at Honjo's comment. She wasn't denying it. She didn't say anything, almost like she was admitting that her comment was the truth. This huge-ass guy is a corpse? Is that why it didn't feel real despite being so huge? True, the force that bastard was giving off felt rather twisted. Not the force of something living, but rather that of a large machine, like the oppression of an approaching tank. A heartless, lifeless machine of slaughter.
清掃13騎士団黒煙卓第2位トバルカイン
Number 2? So technically, wait, 2 people?
おっしゃる通りよ、お嬢さん。彼は死体、生きていない。こうなったものを私が使う。最初からそういう配役。
I use those who have ended up... So wait, you're kind of like a necromancer?
まずはお見事。その統率力と洞察力。彼を前にして正気でいられる度胸も含めて、非凡だと言っていい。
Oh, wait. Oh, this is the cane that they were referring to earlier.
だけど、
Sister Lisa's eyes narrowed again. She wasn't looking at me nor at Shiro or Honjo. My heart leapt as I felt a certain kind of unease and fretfulness explode within me. This is bad, very bad. Perhaps she's...
指揮官としては最悪よ。今夜の私の目的は、ここのスワスチカを開くこと。あなたたちと遊んでいる暇はないの。判断ミスね、二人とも。それだけ統制が取れるなら、あの時逃がすべきだった。ねえ、カイン。
Oh! The twinkle of a flash. The brusque lump of iron wielded by the giant she referred to as Cain rumbled with a sinister echo. It was probably his Onanirbe. Let out an electrifying roar. Sister Lisa was up on the stage waving her hands and giving orders like a conductor. A musical suite of agonizing screams began with her command. The giant was the musician, and people were his instrument. It was an orchestra of carnage.
Christian.
A flash of purple lightning surged in the hall with a thunderous roar. My eyes were blinded by the splitting lightning, and my eardrums burst by the roars in the airtight space. I tried to dash forward in the whited-out silence, but I was blown away by a shockwave. Blood and chunks of meat splattered me a second later after I crashed into the wall. The bodies of the hapless club's attendees were torn apart and split into pieces by the lightning. The stench of literally boiling blood and burnt dry flesh filled my nostrils. I could tell even without my sight and hearing that the hall had just turned into a mountain of corpses in the instant it took the monster to unleash that single attack. Oh.
Shiro!
Say something if you're alive, you dumbass! You couldn't die that easily, right?
許さねえぞ、そんなの。
I gritted my teeth and slapped my knees. My legs were completely numb. I must have been hit by the lightning as well. I tried to stand and fight. I had to stand and fight, damn it. I was the only one here able to take that monster. I could tell blood was pouring out of all the cavities on my face as a result of the shock I had received. But I put that out of mind. I knew this disaster was undoubtedly brought about by my own naivety. Sister Lisa. So you really are the same as those bastards who kill without fear or hesitation.
だったら倒すしかない。
Didn't want to fight her, nor did I want her to die. I didn't want her to kill anyone either. The least I could do for having failed to accomplish any of that was get rid of that undead freak as soon as possible. I remembered what Spine had said. Those bastards' goal was to cause massacres at 8 points around the city, to create 8 battlefields. And fighting here would be playing right into their plans. However, as long as those guys were sticking to those places, I couldn't lure them anywhere else. And most importantly, if I let that monster get out of this place in one piece, it would only increase the innocent casualties later. Okay, so that's how a swastika is born, just by a large amount of bloodshed in a single place. So what I had to do now was take out Kane right away. Nothing else. My hearing returned right around the time when I stood up. I could hear gunfire.
そうか、生きてたかお前。
Shiro and Honjo were shrewder and more sensible than me, so they must have gotten to a safe zone quickly enough. Just as that thought filled me with relief, my vision returned.
さあ、行くぞ。
I will say I like your design, Kane. Tubal Kane turned back to me. Either he noticed my stare or Sister Lisa sicked him on me. His turn was more like that of a power shovel than a human's. Seriously, was I the only sane person left in here? Probably. The corpse was rotting, as corpses normally did. His existence was a horrible perversion of nature. I could barely even look straight at him. Oh, I took a step forward, which Kane saw as his cue to leap off the stage. His body was so massive, each step was accompanied by a tremor in the earth. His power was undoubtedly extraordinary, yet the place itself didn't allow for any strategies involving quick movement and surprise attacks. Though that last attack wiped out about half of them, there were still people clamoring in the hall. I would take that thing head on if I were to ensure their safe escape. So, come on, Marie. Let's do it together. Let's beat that monster back into the grave it crawled out of! Ooh. Blood and pieces of flesh shot off the roar of the first attack. Lisa Brenner closed her eyes and perceived just how many lives had been lost. 78 died instantly, 51 were fatally wounded. In other words, 129 souls were reaped by that prior attack. Was it there? No, that still wasn't enough. The souls gathered at the bottomless pit were of surprisingly fine quality. They weren't spiritually tempered. They had merely lived dirty lives. They were outlaws who took refuge here from the police, from their parents, their teachers, or the mafia in order to live. Realizing they couldn't live on the surface, those brave fugitives had declined to discard their truth selves like so many others had done, and instead sought a place where they belonged, a place where they would find kindred spirits. In a way, the difference between them and the cowards was paper thin, but very few were capable of even that nowadays. When you consider them as Shiro Yusa and Eri Honjo's lapdogs, perhaps they had little self-will, but even then they still had value when seen as parts of a whole. At the very least, they had undoubtedly had a better understanding of life and death than those who lazily shuffled through their everyday lives. Hey, are you insulting me? Probably. So while it normally took about 500 lives to open a swastika, it would only take about 200 to 300 of the lives here to open this one. Interesting, so the quality of the soul affects the, availability to open up a swastika. Okay. Indeed, another swing or two from Kane and the woman's job would be done for the time being.
すごいものですね。大した威力だ。
Lisa's thoughts were interrupted by the sound of her comrade, who had walked up next to her at some point during all this.
まるで爆撃。私が知る限り、一撃でここまでできる者は他にいない。黒煙卓の現有戦力中、最強はやはり彼か。
Yeesh. Kay looked unimpressively at the giant next to her. She spoke softly with a somewhat too perfect impudence.
しかし、随分と変わってしまった。バビロン、これは本当に。
ええ、彼が。
Lisa answered curtly, her forehead moist from intense concentration.
あなたも知っているように、トバルカインは代替わりする。彼は3代目だから、こうなった時、初代と2代目の肉体と融合したの。
Huh.
つまり未熟も、さっき髪の短いお嬢さんが言っていた通りね。
So anytime a new generation is born, they fuse with the previous generations? I'm guessing kind of compiling all their power together, I assume?
フランケンシュタインの怪物か。死体をつなぎ合わせた体。道理で代を重ねるごとに巨大になる。そしてその分強くなる。しかしそれだけに少々下世だ。あなたは先ほどクレッシェンドと命令したのは、私なら初撃でフォルテッシムというところで最大効率で戦果を上げるとは、すなわちそういうことだと思うのです。
Lisa replied with a tired, wry smile at the implied question of why she held back.
言ったでしょ。私は11年カインを使っていない。つまりこの彼を操るのは初めてなのよ。まだ手探りの状態なのに初撃で全力なんて、下手をしたらこちらが焼き切れてしまいかねない。だからいわば短期運転ね。正直それでもかなりきついの。実のところあなたとこうして話しているのも億劫になるくらい。
日頃鍛えていないからそうなるのです。が
Kay shook her head at the absurdity of it all, but continued in a serious tone.
どうやら付き合って正解だったようですね。以前藤井君にした例え話。あなたは武器が強力でも使い手が脆弱だという典型だ。護衛がいなければ戦えない。
Gonna get in my way, Sakurai?
そう。じゃあしっかり守って。それから彼は
生きていますよ。そしておそらく戦う気かと。
Kay was staring at Ren Fuji, who had since gotten to his feet and was glaring right at them.
バカね。今のうちに逃げればいいのに。
Did you honestly think he would listen to you?
彼がそういう男じゃないことは、私よりあなたの方がよく知っていることでしょう。
ええ、そうね。そうだった。
Tubal Cain turned to Ren sync with Lisa. No expression could be read out of the death mask adorning him. It spoke everything as his function was a soulless machine.
まだスワス地下は開いていない。あなたが仕事をこなそうとするのなら、彼は全力で止めようとするでしょう。もはやどうあがいても戦うしかないですね。心が痛みますか、シスター。
まったく。
Don't do that pose! You're not innocent or nice! Lisa produced a bitter smile.
私が嫌いなのはわかるけど、意地悪なのもほどほどにね。でないとあなた可愛くないわよ。
別に問題ないでしょう。
Kay replied to that candid advice with a steely voice.
私をこんな女にしたのはあなたたちなのだから。
And then there were two who were watching the pair's conversation with disinterested foolhardiness.
ダメだ、耳がバカになってる。これしばらく使えそうにねえけど、お前は？
私も正直だいぶダメ。あんたの声があさっての方から聞こえてくるよ。
Uh-oh. It was sheer luck that spared them from that previous attack. Though they'd probably taken evasive actions, humans didn't possess the reaction speed to avoid getting struck by lightning to begin with. Unlike Ren, it wouldn't have been odd if they had died then and there.
命中率が悪いのか、それともおめこぼししてもらったのか。何にせよ全力で舐められてんな。
指揮官としては最悪とかね。まあ否定はしないけど、あんた最初からそんな柄じゃないのにね。
What did it mean to open a swastika? What had to be done? What happened? And what was the result? Jiro probably stopped his comrades from running away in order to figure that out. At least, that was what Ellie believed.
あんたのその全開で人でなしなとこ、ぶっちゃけナチといい勝負。
褒めんなよ、照れるだろ。
まあそれはいいけど、耳がバカになってもやれることはあるわけだね。
From this distance, they wouldn't have been able to hear what their opponents were talking about, even with proper hearing. As such, their temporary deafness didn't mean all that much. Ellie ignored Shiro at that point and stared intently at the two on stage.
おい。
うっさい。少し黙ってな。
Ellie admonished her companion and started moving her lips. After a while, she looked at Shiro.
あいつらが何喋ってるのか。分かった。
Ellie could read Oh! That's actually pretty cool. Ellie could read lips. She had received no training in it. It was mostly a self-taught skill she had. As for the parts she couldn't pick up, she filled in the blanks through observation, concentration, and thought. I gotta say, that's gotta be a crazy talent being able to read people's lips. She told Shiro that what their enemies had been talking about.
だと思う。
頼りね
信じないならご勝手に。
えな。シスターを倒せば、あのカインとかいう化け物も倒せるってことか。
そういうことだね。まあそのためにはまずシスターを守ってるあのお嬢ちゃんが邪魔なんだけど。
そうだね。こんなのはどうだ。
Shiro explained the plan he had concocted. Ellie nodded, ducked, and moved away from Shiro as quietly as possible. The rabble, trying to escape, proved to be a good smokescreen. The pair had known them for about 2 months, but they never accounted for much to Shiro on one personal level.
もうちょっと使える奴らだと思ったんだが、ま、普通ってのはこんなもんか。
Shiro shook his head with a laugh, then proceeded to forget about them altogether. It was his creed to actively participate in battles and get as much fun out of them as possible. He had no interest in those who couldn't keep up. Once he'd predicted Irae was out of sight, Shiro fired the Desert Eagle in his hand. It should have been a surprise attack, however.
早速ありがとう。
The bullets were deflected by the red sword that had suddenly appeared at Kay's side out of thin air, much like the grotesque giant had.
ち、あの姉ちゃんも化け物かよ。
I know, right? Shiro clicked his tongue and fired 2 more shots without missing a beat.
小うるさいスズメね。
Also, why are you deflecting the bullets? If she's one of them, she should be relatively strong, right? Or is she just a human that lived a very long time, does not have many souls, or is not that strong at all? I'm a little confused about why you even bother to defend her. Unless she really is physically weak. Or, I don't know, maybe your strength has to require a large amount of focus, and her focus is directed toward controlling Tubal Cain, maybe? I don't know. Kay swiftly grabbed the sword and swung it with the ease of lifting a twig. With a mere flip of the wrist, she had repelled all the bullets with the blade of her sword.
おいおい、50口径だぜ。
50口径125ミリ滑空砲を持ってきたのなら両手を使ってあげるわ。
I have no idea what that is.
戦車持ってこいってか。
Oh. Shiro didn't take Kay's words as a joke. She repelled the bullets. To do that, she would need extraordinary dynamic vision, as well as physical strength and grip to handle the impact of a .50 caliber magnum bullets with one hand. Naturally, the strength of her unyielding wrist was far beyond the limits of human training. Kay stared right at him as she lifted her flame-wreathed sword. It wouldn't have been unusual to despair at the glimpse of strength she displayed in that one moment alone. However...
なるほどね。
Shiro sounded a laugh, but not out of despair, nor as a bluff.
茶化程度食らっても平気な奴らがわざわざ弾くか。どうやらドンピシャみたいだぜ。 エリー
Lisa was controlling Kane. That required ungodly amounts of concentration. In which case, something as light as getting hit by a pebble, that his bullets had amounted to as far as the bastards were concerned, might have been enough to make her drop the reins. Resigning himself to a support role wasn't exactly up Shiro's alley, but...
そういうことだ。ほら大将、さっさと行ってあのバケモンぶちのめせよ。
Alright. No, not tell me twice. Though it was vague, the sound of Shiro's constant gunfire was enough to make me understand what he was trying to do. He had no way of beating Kane, but he planned to hinder his movement to make up for it. It was the opposite idea of shooting the enemy commander. The horse was the real threat here, so the commander was using all her might to hold on to his reins. If she let go, that thing would turn into nothing more than a corpse. A puppet.
だったらそれまで持たせないとな。
I'd wait for an opening and attack with all I had. Sister Lisa had to focus on my actions just as much as she had to focus on controlling that monster. And the more she did, the more the fruits of Shiro's plan would start to show. Jubal Kane looked at me from behind that soulless mask. I stared back at the giant. And... I sprinted with enough force to kick off the floor and shot forward like a cannonball. I could do this. I doubt I'd lose to this giant in terms of speed. If I could close the distance between us all at once, I might get lucky and decapitate him in one slash. I finished forming my weapon in a second and swung my guillotine of a right arm down on the giant. A moment later, I felt the sensation of decapitation passing through my arm. I was partly sure I'd won, but... I was once again blown away by the lightning generated around Kane, and that was not all. Kane dashed after me, practically at the speed of lightning. I think he was faster than me with that huge hulking body and long weapon. This is why I don't underestimate your opponents. Always assume they are 3 times stronger than you. I was shocked, but it only lasted a moment. I resolved myself. I wouldn't retreat. If I took a step back, I'd just be cut down. And if I dodged, Kane would blow away all those people standing behind me. My only choice was to meet him head on. Oh my god! Kane swung his giant lump of iron down, which I blocked with the guillotine in my right arm. I felt like I heard Marie scream at the same time. It was already a miracle that my weapon didn't crack in such mass speed and power. Wait, hold on. Oh, I thought we were gonna actually see, like, you know, the actual blade kind of sticking out around the... Okay. Though I avoided getting chopped in half, I felt the whole impact of that attack. The floor cracked around me, boring a crater into the ground. It felt intense enough to make me think that my spine had snapped and shot right out of my body. Oh! Oh, that might be a problem. And the lightning the bastard's weapon gave off with each slash was powerful beyond belief. It was like that sword of fire Sakurai wielded. An axe of lightning and a katana of flames. What a combination. My opponent's range of attack was not limited to the length of his greatsword. Well, I guess it is a sword, I just assumed an axe. It was too dangerous to lock blades with this dead freak. I mean, actually deadly is actually this deadly dead freak. At the very least, I didn't feel confident I could last on the defensive. So I had to take the offensive. I just keep hacking away at him, not giving the freak a chance to swing his sword. I avoided the monster's strength pushing against my blade and twisted myself to dodge. A roar loud enough to crack the very floor open echoed across the hall as I used the lingering shockwaves to jump over Kane. Dude, use the Sekiro trick. Fling lightning at him, jump high up in the air, and just fling it right back. I could do it. This time, I would take this monster's head. He couldn't see me. I was confident I could win, however... The next lightning strike managed to hit me in midair. The high voltage caused my limbs to twitch, boiled my blood, and made me feel like my insides were being torn apart. I flew head over heels and crashed to the floor as blood literally gushed out of me. I couldn't breathe. Blood was pouring out of my eyes, and my clothes were torn off and charred. Had I been a normal human, I would have been cut to pieces without even a single bone left of me. But rather than those wounds, I was more pissed off by my own stupidity. Though I'd known that freak's traits, I'd stupidly forgotten all about them in the presence of his overwhelming pressure. Kane was a corpse. A feint meant nothing to a machine like him. Trying to get into his blind spots was pointless when his controller could see me. That's right. Kane had 360-degree vision as long as she could see me, and since the thing was a corpse, he could possibly perform feats impossible for the human body, superpowered or not. Kane then swung his weapon, and that alone, a full 180 degrees without turning around as if to endorse that theory. I dodged on instinct, but it mowed down the area above my head, shattering the seats and people behind me into smithereens, blowing them away. Blood and chunks of meat scattered behind me. My vision was blurred, not by the intense pain wrecking my whole body, but by fury. The thing had probably killed another 100 or so people with that attack. Just how many would he kill before he was satisfied? I didn't care if this was a den of criminals. They most certainly didn't deserve to be massacred by a monster like Kane. Jubal Kane turned to face me right as I gritted my teeth and stood up. This dead freak didn't even need a fraction of his power to pull off something like turning his joints around to slash right behind himself. But even so, I'd be damned if I lost. At the very least, the freak had yet to land a single blow on me. I wouldn't be satisfied until I made sure this masked dead freak stayed dead for good. He was fast and powerful enough that not even Sister Lisa, the one controlling him, could predict his movements. The most efficient attack for me at the moment was... I took a deep breath and fell into a crouch. Pulling back my right hand, I assumed a fighting stance. That idea came easily to me. No doubt thanks to having a kendo maniac for a childhood friend. If I was going for the fastest slash possible, I had but one choice. An Aya slash. That was the only way. I'd be trying to imitate something I'd merely seen on the spot. Not to mention the shape of my weapon was irregular. Still, the basic principle must have remained the same. There was very little variety in stances when the idea was to turn your whole body into something akin to a cannon and launch your blade like a cannonball. A turnabout death blow. A double-edged sword that would end fatally for me if I missed, but it was the only way. Kane suddenly raised his lump of iron. Perhaps Sister Lisa had caught on to my plan. It wouldn't be slash versus slash. No, he would probably try to zap me again. His lightning blade, far faster than a speeding bullet, was about to fall upon me. So I focused my mind, steeled my heart, and slowed down the seconds. A moment became a second became a minute. Should have been used to that idea. Having been thoroughly forced into a corner, I would surpass the speed of lightning itself. A ridiculous feat when one thought about it, but unless I accomplished just that, I would be getting nowhere. The screams and gunfire around me completely vanished. Within that silence, Kane and I faced off against each other. As I held on to my desperate concentration, I awaited for the next moment in that divided light and darkness. Faster, faster, faster. I had to soar faster than anyone in order to claim the freak's head. Kane's tremendous body tilted forward slightly. I drew my guillotine of a right arm at the same time. At that moment, a similarly unusual and unpredictable phenomenon occurred. A dark veil suddenly struck the floor. The lights went out all at once, shrouding the room in darkness.
なるほど。
That was definitely no accident. The enemy had a brain on them, too. It was a two-stage tactic. They would use the resulting darkness not only to blind Lisa, Kane's controller, but to launch their attack as well. Having figured that out, Kay swung her sword in an arc right after the lights went out.
明かりが消えたのならつければいい。
My flames! The air she cut through was dyed a reddish gold, making the center of the floor erupt into scarlet flames. With light having been returned, Kay scanned the floor and made sure to confirm how the battle had progressed. Perfect. Barely any time had passed. In fact, it was Ren, not Kane, whose movements had been thrown off the most by the sudden loss of light. He would soon perish. Though they hadn't gotten along, Kay still felt a slight tinge of pity for the end of a boy she had gotten to know a little. But her thoughts turned to what had come after his death. What would come. She would witness the opening of a swastika for a third time and see the end of her rival. As such, they would have no choice but to enact a large-scale massacre in order to open the remaining 5. She felt annoyed by the unpleasant work that would mean for her in the future, but it was only logical to kill your enemies when you had the chance. Kay and Lisa were much more, realists and rationalists compared to the fun-loving Wilhelm and Rusalka. And so...
さようなら、藤井君。
Right as the two of them coincidentally uttered those parting words at the same time.
だからなめるなっつってんだろ。
That sneer and voice brought Kay back to reality. She quickly looked back to where Shiro had been just a short while ago, but...
いない
she'd lost sight of Shiroyusa. Did he flee? That wasn't it. Perhaps she'd been wrong to dismiss it as worthless, but the dropping of the light had just been a decoy, and their true goal was what came after.
ためのやつに言いたかねえけど、若いな、お前。
優等生は意外にちょっとつ盲信型なのよ。
Oh my god! She caught sight of the two of them mocking her as they pressed their muzzles side by side in her direction. Kay couldn't understand what they were thinking. What good would shooting do? 2 bullets were no more effective against them than 1, and she could easily deflect them at this distance. Even if they did happen to hit her, it wouldn't cause significant damage. It was completely pointless, but then how would one explain those confident smirks? Go cosplay as Will? What? 2 bullets shot forward with the overlapping gunfire. Kay could see their trajectories perfectly, but they weren't aimed at either her or Lisa. In that case, could they have been? By the time realization dawned on Kay, it was already too late. The sound of an explosion, far more meager compared to Kane's attack, echoed across the hall. The bullets passed right by Kay, destroying a fire extinguisher on the stage. She used the blade of her sword to deflect the fire extinguisher, jumping about the force of a barrel roll. However, her enemies were not after that, but rather the dispersal of the foam inside. In other words, fuck your flames! Her line of sight became a milky white haze. She couldn't see at all. Though it wasn't impossible for her to wipe out the smoke screen with her explosive fire and the swing of her sword, it would have required concentration and time. Kay could tell Lisa was growing impatient behind her. That was more than enough to tell Kay that Kane was nothing more than a puppet the older woman had lost control of. Kay's whole body was then stampeded with chills and shivers. He would die. He was going to die again. Oh, no. She couldn't bear losing him again. Her fear and impatience shot past their limits and making Kay lunge forward instantly. Kay turned into a raging hurricane as she made off towards the two, breaking through the smoke screen. She wouldn't let him die. She'd be damned if she did. She would never, ever allow him to be broken even further. Murderous intent in front of Lisa, as well as the obstruction of a comrade's hunt through distraction. Kay didn't hesitate at all to take those actions. Actions that would break her oath. To be accurate, she'd completely forgotten about it. She simply dashed forward as fast as she possibly could in order to save him, to keep him from dying. After that brief moment lasted not even a second, filled with thoughts and running, Kay beheld the worst possible outcome. The illumination birthed by the clash of blade and thunderbolt made me stumble forward. Not only had I been so focused that I'd forgotten Shiro was planning something, I wasn't farsighted enough to be able to adapt to suddenly losing my vision either. Achieving a composed and ever-serene mind was no easy feat. Until a short while ago, I'd been no more than an everyday student. There was no way I would have been able to keep my cool after being so abruptly robbed of my sight. Oh my god, fucking Shiro with the save! A series of floor-shaking tremors and a burst of explosive fire put an end to my confusion. That was likely Sakura's doing. Whatever she had done gave me a momentary flash of vision. Couldn't move an inch. That momentary hesitation brought a swift end to my perfectly timed plan. His lightning would fall upon and pierce me through just as I yielded to Kane's overwhelming pressure, envisioning that hopelessly inevitable outcome. Gunfire rang out again, soon followed by the sound of a small-scale explosion. For some reason, Kane's presence vanished as a result. Or rather, it felt more like the giant was bewildered and impatient, as if he had lost sight of my position. Maybe Sister Lisa couldn't see me right now? My suspicion turned to conviction a moment later. The lightning strike that should have hit and blown me away ended up passing right by me. I had no idea what just happened. None of that mattered, though. What did matter was that my opponent had just missed an attack that would have otherwise been fatal. Regardless of what brought it about, this was my chance. I would have been an idiot for not taking advantage of it. Let's go! I sprung my arms forward and sped up my body's muscles in sync. I raised my blade with all my might as fast as I could and moved to slice the giant before me in two. My target was the head. That was the only way. I don't know if you could kill a corpse twice, but I basically believe that this decapitating blade Marie dwelt in could kill any target regardless of what the rules of logic dictated. It was likely that belief that was acting as the driving force behind manifesting my Irae's power to its peak. As long as I believed that, this guillotine could cut down whatever stood in its path, be it human or monster. Kane turned around. I couldn't tell if it was a random attack or if this dead freak possessed the base ability to intercept it by himself, but either way, I was faster. I jumped as if to land on the swinging lump of iron, then launched an attack on the giant's completely defenseless and exposed neck. Something completely unbelievable happened a moment later. Kane headbutted the blade swinging down toward its neck. I don't know how strong the bastard's mask, that is, Sister Lisa's Unnerve was, but my blade's swing went way off mark from that superhuman counterattack. As a result, I missed and ended up cutting from Kane's left shoulder blade to his right lung. That'd be a fatal wound for sure to a normal opponent, but it didn't look like it had much of an effect on the freak. In other words, it was a misfire. My all-or-nothing attack had been completely wasted. Yet it wasn't bitterness or regret I felt, but something else entirely.
こいつ今自分で動いたのか
Uh-oh. That last counterattack was on a different level altogether. He deliberately attacked to offset the slash heading right for him, and he actually used his mask to deflect it. A mere puppet couldn't have pulled that off. What in the world was this thing? Tubal Cain casually turned around with no heed to the diagonal wound in his body. Not even a drop of blood poured from the wound, and he clearly didn't feel any pain. But he had the body of a corpse no matter how you spun it. Despite that, he moved precisely, even when he was cut off from Sister Lisa's proper commands. Oh! The corpse that remained silent up until then began to speak. There was a dark, gear-like creaking that lacked any meaning, more reminiscent of the rumble of a motor than a genuine human voice. However, that eerie enumeration of sounds, hardly even worthy to be called a voice, made my entire body freeze up. I wanted him to stop. I didn't want to hear another syllable uttered by that voice. The dead giant's voice alone was enough to instill a sort of madness in the living. Fuck! His howl, loud as roaring thunder, completely blew my fighting spirit into smithereens. Lisa quietly clicked her tongue when she heard Kane's war cry. It appeared that his true nature, one that she'd want to keep hidden, was coming dangerously close to being revealed. That was dangerous, not just because it would make him harder to control. Lisa could not afford letting anyone learn that Kane possessed a side like that to him. And if worse came to worse, if the Divine Vessel or Samael ever found out, they'd likely demolish everything. Same went for that girl, though in a different way. She cut through the smoke screen of foam and chased after the girl a second behind. She couldn't have been allowed to see that. If she did, then she'd surely... But it was too late. Kate was already watching. She stood frozen and dumbfounded, muttering to herself like her mind was somewhere else. Anger welled up within Kay a moment later. It seemed like she was more fixated on Kane's wound than his maddened roars. Though Lisa hesitated to call it a silver lining, she had nothing to worry about if that was the thing that had Kay bothered. Kane wouldn't break that easily. She was about to say that, but for some reason she couldn't. He was a dead puppet. Even if his arms were chopped off, his legs vanished, or if his chest was filled with holes, that monster was a lump of flesh that could keep moving as long as she, the controller, remained in good health. As such, there was nothing to worry about. The wound could barely even be called a cut. Lisa attempted to say all of that, even parted her lips a few times, but ultimately she couldn't. Wait a minute. Kay seems to have some sort of connection with Kane, so... Apparently, the fact that he seems to be able to talk when he's, I guess, whenever they're losing control, I guess, is something that they're not allowed to know, I guess? Inevitably, she could do nothing to stop that impending instrument of destruction. Kane swung down his lump of iron with all his might, unleashing a burst of deadly lightning, rivaling that of Indra himself, eclipsing all of his prior attacks in terms of ferocity. His strike was powerful enough to blow away everyone still alive in this place, not only Ren, Shiro, and Ellie, but even Kay and Lisa as well. Oh shit. The flash of lightning burned into my eyes, blinding me. The scope of Kane's raging lightning strike dwarfed all others that came before, and I would have been torn to shreds had I taken a direct hit from it. I knew that all too well. Yet in spite of that, I couldn't bring myself to move an inch. Rather than being frozen by the sheer magnitude of that unparalleled destructive power, it was more like I was cursed by this freak's existence itself. I'd be seeing the pearly gates in my near future if this kept up. For some reason, Sakurai cut in between us. That was what saved me. The floor shook with a tremendous sound, splitting apart along with the walls while I found myself blown back a dozen or so meters. As the echoes of destruction continued to roar, I saw something fall to my feet. It was Sakurai. Needless to say, she was all battered and wounded from Kane's attack. Even she would have been blown to bits had she taken a direct hit. Nevertheless, she seemed to have evaded that outcome by a hair's breadth, stopping the blow a split second before it would have dealt a fatal wound. She still suffered severe injuries, but her life was seemingly spared. More importantly, though,
お前どうして
I highly doubted she was attempting to save me. In which case, could she have been trying to rein in the Berserk Kane? That last attack unleashed all his power, from what I could tell. Releasing that volume of destructive force must have taken quite a toll on him. That was also the wound I inflicted on him to consider. In that state, it would have been hardly surprising to see his body crumble apart from the power of his own lightning. When I thought of it that way, Sakurai's action became more comprehensible, but why would someone like her, who had always been so cool-headed when dealing with Wilhelm and Rusalka, risk her life to that extent? And for that monster's sake, no less. Whoa. Whoa! All those thoughts were abruptly drowned out by the intense pain flaring up in my neck. The air grew heavy and stagnant as an indescribable kind of unease filled the room. What was that?
どうやら3つ目のスバスチカが開いたようね。
Fuck! I could vaguely make out Sister Lisa across the dust shrouding the room, right next to her Kane, having returned to being a speechless statue. The opening of the swastika meant that many had died. That last attack, as well as the battle up to that point, must have passed the necessary death quota.
安心しなさい。今夜はもう帰るから。それで藤井君、こんなこ
I don't care about interrupting her. Though I was gritting my teeth in rage and bitterness, Sister Lisa ignored it all. There was a twinge of pain in her voice. Perhaps she too had been wounded.
レオンを、その子のことをよろしくお願い。難しい性格だけど、根は悪い子でもないはずだから。
待て。
じゃあ、さようなら。心配しなくても、私たちはもうあなたの前に現れないわ。
How's that
こ
supposed
れ
to
で
mean?
仕事は終わったのよ。
シスター
I screamed and stretched my hand out, but I couldn't reach her. My legs and hips, still suffering the after effects of the lightning, wouldn't let me stand. I wanted her to stay, to not leave. I was begging her. She and Himuro were...
ごめんなさい。でも、許してなんて言えないわね。願わくは、あなたも生きて、死なないで。
A jet black curtain blanketed my vision at that moment. The black cloth attached to Kane's mask spread out, covering the whole floor, drowning everything out.
Oh.
A moment later, my sight returned, revealing that Sister Lisa and Kane were nowhere to be found. In addition, all the splattered blood, chunks of meat, and mounds of corpses had vanished without a trace. Just like that night. The way Rusalka erased the mutilated body without a trace the night I met her, Wilhelm, and Sakurai. In other words...
食ったか来る時も帰る時も派手だな。
Hey, Shiro.
シロ
Good to see you're still alive, man. He lived through that explosion?
でもまあとりあえずこの場は命拾ったね。正直しょっぱなからデタラメなの来すぎっつうか。どうなのさこれ。
Hanjo. She survived as well.
で立てるかレン。見るからにひでえけど死んじまうほどでもねえんだろ。
Kinda. I couldn't stand right now, but my injuries weren't life-threatening. Didn't know how these two got away, but rather than being covered in dust from head to toe, they didn't seem to be wounded. But then I remembered something.
シロお前な。
なんだよ。
涼しい顔して笑ってんじゃねえよ。お前がいきなり照明なんか消したおかげでこっちは危うく死にかけたぞ。
ああそれやったの私。
ちなみに俺の発案な。
だからそういうことじゃなくてだな。
I was about to tell him that he should have given me a heads up or show a bit more concern, but I stopped myself. Anything I told him would have gone in one ear and out the other anyway.
ま、生きてたんだからいいじゃんよ。
Mostly.
ああ、おかげさまでな。
I leaned against the wall and somehow managed to stand up as anger welled within me. The crowds of people here just a while ago were all gone, leaving no one but me and these guys. Some probably got away, but everyone who saw what happened had been wiped out. I couldn't help but feel bitter at that.
俺がここにいたからとかつまんないこと考えちゃダメよ。あちらさんはこの場所に用があったわけだから、あたしらやレン君がいようがいまいがこうなっちゃってたわけなのよ。
Still, it felt one-sided.
ま、後悔しても仕方ねえしな。
ほんとよく言うよね、あんたって。
He kind of is, doesn't he? Shiro and Honjo said that as if they could tell what I'd been feeling. They might have been right, but I couldn't just simply write off the whole thing.
とにかくこういう時は悪者の退治に意識を向けるのが前向きな姿勢ってやつでしょ。そういうわけで一つ問題。
Honjo pointed her finger and looked at me. I was hoping it was just my imagination, but it looked like I couldn't laugh this off.
これどうするよ。
Wait, did she just leave Sakurai here? It went without saying that she was pointing at Sakurai, still unconscious on the floor. She just fucking left her here? That was indeed a problem. A big problem, in fact. Wait, would this void her agreement with Rusalka, considering one of her own attacked her? So does that void the agreement? I felt like we'd been left with a rabid dog or something.
ぶっ殺せよ、レン。俺の仲間の仇だぜ。
とバカは言ってるわけだけど。
真面目な話、連中がどうやら死ぬのかってことに興味がある。
What if I take her weapon and give it to you? That way you could fight. Or that probably wouldn't work.
おい、
I instinctively rebutted that turbulent statement, but I could see where Shiro was coming from. I had to keep fighting those monsters from now on. I had Marie as a means to do that, but these two had no way of beating them. However...
人体実験でもしようってのかよ。趣味悪いぞお前。
Yeah. I didn't want to do or see the kind of stuff Rusalka got off to. Shiro let out an exasperated snicker as he saw my reaction.
まあな、お前はそう言うだろうな。傷んでるやつに甘いっつうか、フェアプレー精神の人だから。
あんたの頭も相当傷んでる領域だと思うけど。
お前、そりゃ、そのなんつうか、どうなんだよ。
どんなもこんなもあるかよ。
These guys were idiots. They seriously went back to their normal selves right after the bloodshed ended. Anyway, trying to get along with them was a waste of time. I had to think about how to deal with this situation.
とりあえずここで桜井を確保できたのは運がいいと。そう思う。
I would say so, yeah. Call it naive, but killing someone wounded and defenseless was too low for me. And seeing how I couldn't bring myself to do that, I had only one option available. After all, there was still much we didn't know.
捕まえて捕虜にしよう。こいつには聞きたいこともあるし。
へえ。
なんだよ。
What? What was up with those mocking looks they were giving me?
お前さ、こいつのおかげで命拾いしたから交換とか持っちゃってるわけ？
What? No!
そんなわけないだろ。むしろ苦手だ、こいつのことは。
それはまた微妙な評価を。
I really wish he'd just shut up and leave me alone.
誤解がないように言っとくけど、俺はこいつと仲良くなんかないからな。最初っからどうも馬が合わないんだよ、桜井とは。
Which was exactly why I couldn't deal with her. She didn't seem like the type I could get along with. I knew those words were illogical and not much of an explanation, but that was what I said. Shiro waved his hands as if to say, yeah, I get it.
まあ、お前が得意な相手なんてバカスミくらいしかいねえしな。
I don't know, I kinda like Kasumi more.
オーケー。俺は別に構わんよ。シャレでからかっただけだ。そう怒んな。てなわけで、おいエリー。
ああ、はいはい、分かってるよ。
Honjo gave a sluggish reply before sitting next to Sakurai. Personality aside, she was still the daughter of doctors and probably had at least basic knowledge in first aid treatment.
悪いけど明かせる。
But the lights in the hall went out just as I said that, wrapping the place in darkness. After a beat, Shiro lit up the surroundings with the flame of his lighter.
なんだ停電かよ。
Huh.
さっきの戦闘で電気系統のどっかが行かれたのかも。
Probably.
おい、大丈夫なのか。
まあ大丈夫だと思うけど、詳しいことは調べてみないとわかんないね。
Also, I'm pretty sure I could possibly survive a building falling on me. Maybe.
そんなことより、とりあえずこの子の治療する方が優先だと思うけど。
She was right. There was no way to treat Sakurai properly in complete darkness.
じゃ、まずは場所を変えよっか。あんたたち。
Wait, what? Okay, fine. Shiro and I followed Honjo's orders and carried Sakurai to a VIP room.
これでいいかな。
Alright.
あんたたち、もう入ってきてもいいよ。
After that level of intensity, I think that would be a good place for me to go ahead and end it. Okay, first off, though, you've got me curious. I'm wondering what Sakurai's connection is with, you know, Kane. Like, her, I mean, something about why she suddenly, I guess, kind of defended me, but attempted to stop Kane just doesn't sit well with me. I wonder what her connection with Kane is. Well, I don't know. Well, so far nothing bad, I would say, happened in that, except for the lives of several people and another swastika opening. I would say that's probably the only bad thing. Maybe. Possibly. Yeah. Huh. It seemed like Kane was on the cusp of being able to talk again for some reason. I wonder. Oh well. I'm kind of hoping to see, maybe get at least a little bit more information on Kane and, you know, I don't wonder what he was saying. Oh well. Anyway, guys, that's it for today. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Hello there, everybody. Sabato92 here, and if you like this video, be sure to let me know in the comments down below. And hey, if you guys like my content, then maybe you'd like to check out another channel who I think deserves equal attention. So click that Nightmare emblem and check out that channel, or go to the links in the description down below. Once again, thank you, and I'll see you guys in the next video.